we sponsor. Ooh, Lordy, I'm having a hard time getting started today. This weather got me wrong. So if you're wondering who you tuned in and listened to today, you're listening to the Strategic Moves Radio Show. I'm your host, Kenn Dowell, and this show is sponsored by myself and Dr. Heather E. Burton. I'm just a little discombobulated today because it's cold outside, and I'm trying to get it all together, and I'm waiting on a few of my co-hosts to come in the door. Miss Burton, she's pulling in as we see. We'll have Judge Nelson in the house today as well, and we're going to have a little talk today, and we're going to talk about stop waiting for permission to lead, why our community is stuck. That's what we're going to talk about, and today is going to be our main conversation today, but we'll do a little housekeeping before we get going. I want to do a couple of shout-outs to make sure everybody, if you're listening to this show, you can listen. If you're listening to us on any of our platforms and you want to leave a comment, just drop us a comment in there, and we're going to make sure that you're part of this conversation. Also, if you're streaming and listening to us on any of those platforms, we really appreciate it if you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button to our show. All of that stuff is free, and it'll remind you the next time our program is coming on. One other thing that we do got going on at this point is we got an event that's going to be happening on December the 12th. We have a big Christmas event that we're going to be working along with a few organizations to give away some toys to people who are looking to individuals who are in need. This program will start from 11 to 4 o'clock. It will be at the Galleria downtown Cleveland, and we're going to be working with a few organizations to help us put that together. We're working with an organization that's called Stepping with a Purpose, I believe the name of it. I am so sorry if I got the name wrong, but their organization is here to help their organization do a lot with trying to help give out information and awareness about lupus. They're going to be helping. Stepping with a Vision is going to be working with us as part of this organization who's going to be helping us to put it on. They actually are the ones who are actually giving away the toys. We're just part of the team that's going to be there. So we're asking anybody, if you want to be a volunteer and help be a part of that, you can sure be a part of any of that. DOWELL.com. That's KENN and you can get more information about that event. And please register. And if you know any families or anyone that may need that, please, you can leave me, either drop something in the DMs or you can email me at Ken@astrategicmoves. That's KEN@astrategicmoves.com. And when you leave any information in there, you can then be able to in and be a part of that. So we would love for you to be a part of that. And if there's any information that you need to ever have any events or anything that you would like for us to talk about, bring up up as we go through these programs, you can do that by going to those same email address and giving us that information. So I want to that's my phone ringing. I'm telling y'all, man, I'm just really all messed up because of the holidays and everything else. And I'm just getting myself all back together. So what I'm going to do, because we're going to start all over when I come right back, we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to get everybody's here. The judge is in the house. Dr. Burton's in the house. Unicorn is ready. Liberty's ready. I think DJ True, we ready over there with you too. I think he's about ready. So we're going to take a quick break, y'all. When we come back, we're going to start this program off from the beginning. It'll be a quick break, so don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. What's up, people? Dog catch a baby, do the dog catch a dog.
What's up, Cleveland? It's time to turn up the conversation. Tune in to the Strategic Moves with Kenn Dowell Radio Show for What's on Your Mind Tuesdays. Call in, comment, and connect on WOVU 95 FM, WOVU.org, and hit us up on social media. Let's go. What's up, Cleveland? It's time to turn up the conversation. Tune in to the Strategic Moves with Kenn Dowell radio show. For What's on Your Mind Tuesdays, call in, comment, and connect on WOVU 95 FM, WOVU.org, and hit us up on social media. Let's go. What's up, Cleveland? It's time to turn up the conversation. Tune in to the Strategic Moves with Kenn Dowell radio show. For What's on Your Mind Tuesdays, call in, comment, and connect on WOVU 95 FM, WOVU.org, and hit us up on social media. Let's go. What's up, Cleveland? It's time to turn up the conversation. Tune in to the Strategic Moves with Kenn Dowell radio show. For What's on Your Mind Tuesdays, call in, comment, and connect on WOVU 95 FM, WOVU.org, and hit us up on social media. Let's go. What's up, Cleveland? It's time to turn up the conversation. Tune in to the Strategic Moves with Kenn Dowell radio show. For What's on Your Mind Tuesdays, call in, comment, and connect on WOVU 95 FM, WOVU.org, and hit us up on social media. Let's go. Your voice. Join in for What's on Your Mind Tuesday on 95.9 FM WOVU. Call in or comment on social media. Let's make this conversation unforgettable. Streaming live on WOVU.org.
All right, we are back, and you're tuned in to Strategic Move Radio Show. I'm your host, Kenn Dowell, and I'm here with my co-host, Dr. Heather Burton, and the other co-host of the co-host, Judge Michael Nelson, and we all make up this team that's called Strategic Moves Radio Show. And we're here every Tuesday on WOVU 95.9 FM, where we try to bring you the truth about what we know to be truth. And we try to bring it to you every Tuesday. And we want you to be a part of that conversation. That's easy by you joining in. And you can do that by leaving a comment. Pretty soon we'll be able to have a call-in number for you to be able to call in and leave and be a real part of this conversation as we growing. But for right now, that's where we're at. So as we get things kicking this program, Dr. Burton.
Yes.
How was your holiday? How's everything going with you?
My holiday was good. Just being thankful and reflecting on Thanksgiving and not how Thanksgiving was established with the Pilgrims and the Indians. We will not be.
Whoa. So we're not talking pumpkin pie today.
Nope, not talking pumpkin pie. Even though one of my friend, she has her niece, and I had her niece this on Sunday, and somebody offered her pumpkin pie, and I was like, ew, like how you start eating pumpkin pie, because she's only 9, but then I had to think about some other stuff that's connected to her while she ate some pumpkin pie.
Right. You know, I tasted pumpkin pie before. It just don't taste sweet at all.
I don't even know if I think I have tasted it, but I didn't like it. But I tell you what I do like is pumpkin rolls. I do like, but that's probably because it's the cream cheese. That's probably what I like is the cream cheese in the middle.
I give you that. I give you that. But the only time people eat pumpkin pie is when there's no sweet potatoes in the country.
Like you say, in the country.
In the country. The whole country. Not in the one store, but in the whole country.
The whole country.
The old pilgrims, they were so confused. They ate because they didn't know anything about sweet potato pie. So they ate pumpkin pie till they learned better.
Well, we ain't gonna get started on.
We ain't gonna get started on the pilgrims.
No, see, we
among
do
other
this.
things,
We get
among
started.
other things they didn't know.
Yeah, a whole lot about to say. There's a whole lot of things.
There's a whole lot that they didn't know.
So Unicorn, you here today? Unicorn, she's been on 11 ever since I walked in the door.
What's happening with Unicorn today?
What's going on, man?
Uni did too much over the holidays. Uni is still recovering. And then Uni went to a poetry night last night. It was a wine and poetry night. Shout out to Hundo, 216 Hundo.
How come you know about this stuff? You don't ever
you don't ever tell us about the poetry
you don't
nights.
think we like poetry slams or something?
It was beautiful. They had the Congo drums. It was definitely like, what's that movie, Love Jones? It was definitely Love Jones vibe for sure. They had the Morocco. I was like, ooh, this is, hey. I said, "Ooh, okay, we here."
You know, school us
next time. I got you for sure.
That means that's the DJ thing we didn't get invited to. Then you didn't invite us to this. I mean, you know. Hey,
well, I got something I can invite y'all for. My first event that I'm putting together myself is this Thursday. It's called Pretty Lit. It's going to be 8 to 12 this Thursday at B-Side on Coventry. If you are free, please come through.
I'm putting it on my calendar. We gonna see. 8 o'clock is usually my bedtime.
On a Thursday. I may be able to go 8 to like 9:30.
Okay, that's okay. Come get you some wine. Come chill out.
9:30, and then I got to go sleep. So.
I understand. I was not planning to go to anywhere on a Monday night, let alone wine and poetry, but it actually was a really, really good vibe. I enjoyed myself, and I don't drink wine often, so I didn't realize that it'll take you there. It'll take you.
Yeah, it
there.
don't take much wine.
I know
especially
now.
if you're not a wine drinker.
I'm not.
Just give me some 7-Up, a Pepsi diet. I'll be cool.
Gotcha.
I'll make it look like.
You could put your cherry in it, and
I'll make it look.
You could get a Shirley Temple.
Yeah,
I love me a good mocktail now.
Yeah, I'll make it look like a grown-up's drink.
So what's going on? Did we got anything else happening?
It's a lot going on.
We derailed.
Y'all derailed on. I stepped away for a second. Y'all
Yeah,
come
we
back.
derailed.
We done went to pumpkin pie. Now we talking about mocktails. All right, did the city anything happen good in the city? I'll start us off while Unicorn getting her thing going.
I was about to say I got it.
Oh, you got it? What
RTA bus has crashed on I-71, so y'all please be slow, be careful, take your time, do not rush, because I promise you it's gonna be there. Chill, relax, please take your time.
It will
on this
be
road.
there when you get there.
It will be there. It will be there.
And you can't. And rushing. And here's the thing: when we think about even speeding, it's not like you adding a whole lot of extra minutes if it's a short distance. Right. So there's no reason to speed to get where you need to go.
Unless you're late getting to strategic moves, we can't dial in.
Well, we late every week. So whether it's snow, rain, or dry ground.
Right, so it don't matter.
But the rest of y'all, take your time.
Take your time.
The doctor's right and Unicorn's right. Just slow down.
Slow down. And that, you know what? I'm not derailing Unicorn right now, but that just made me think, too, slow down in life. No. Let's slow down. Let's appreciate the things that are around us. We move so fast that we don't acknowledge and appreciate the things that are around us. So just slow down.
And to my hoteps out there, I understand why you don't want to celebrate these holidays. But at the end of the day, you off of work. Your baby's not in school. They barely see their cousins. Take them over their people's house. Don't be sitting up here talking about, I ain't celebrating these holidays. These white men did it. Shut up. Shut up, and go spend time with your family that you ain't seen all year. Okay? That's the point. Look, we're talking about tradition. We're talking about culture. We're talking about practicing the things that your family actually do, those traditions. We're not talking about the white man.
Not at all.
We ain't talking none of that, okay? We don't care about any of that. We care about Grandma Pie. We care about kicking it with the cousins we ain't seen all year.
Even the ones
care
we
about,
can't stand.
Yeah, even the ones we can't stand. Even a drunk cousin that comes in yelling at everybody, cussing everybody out. They're fun. Okay, we miss them sometimes.
Once a year.
Yeah.
Once a year, they fun.
That's right.
So
You
get
take
with
it
your
once a year.
people. Slow down and get with your people,
Once a year.
please.
And not in small doses. That's what that's called. You can't take them in big doses. All right, Uni, what else you got? Because I know we waiting on the big one. I know you got the big one. We got the big one.
Cleveland Council has okayed the rework $100 million Browns deal that greenlit the Brook Park move. So yeah, can we talk a little bit about what happened with the Cleveland Council meeting and them rework? What was reworked exactly with this $100 million Browns deal being greenlit by the council?
From my understanding, they were able to basically no new money was brought to the table. We're still working with the same amount of money. It was just in the way they shuffling it around a little bit. And from my understanding, there was $25 million that's going to be allocated for the community to be spent a little bit more along the lines of what they want to spend it on. I think from the offset of the deal in the beginning, the biggest thing for me was the amount, which the amount never changed. But then it was also, there was so many things tied to even the money you got. And so with council and everyone agreeing, I think they were able to loosen up some of those things a little bit. And so therefore there will be a little bit more opportunity. But at the end of the day, the Browns is officially out of Cleveland. They're going to be the heck up out of here. We got a few dollars. At the end of the day, I was listening to the program yesterday on council. I think they met almost 4 or 5 hours. It was a long meeting. Yep. They were so long they did it in parts. I looked at it, it says part 1 and part 2 when you go watch it. But I watched part 2. I ain't even look at part 1.
You ain't look at part 1.
Get to the nitty gritty. What y'all gonna do? And so at the end of it, at part 2, they asked what was making this deal different. Historical was the word that they used. And, and what would Cleveland feel proud about what we were able to get? And the mayor's chief of staff, his comment was that historically Cleveland is doing something that many cities haven't got done. And, I'm waiting to see what was that. And they said that they were able to get the owners to pay for the demolition of the stadium. Usually when a team leaves the city, they just get up and leave, and the stadium is on you. So if you're going to demolish it, that's millions of dollars that you have to pay for out of your pocket to do it, and the city end up paying the bill for that. Out of this deal, Haslams are going to tear down the stadium itself. It'll be gone, and from there, they're going to leave a pad there that makes it shovel ready for any new development that's going to happen on the lakefront. So that's what I understand it to be. And what you say, people?
It's to me, this is the end of Cleveland being hijacked. In 1997, Cleveland signed the worst stadium deal in the country, in professional sports history.
Oh, then we made history doing that too then.
And every year, let's talk about this now. Every year since 1999, in the spring, when the city has to fork over $2.7 million for maintenance and capital improvements to the Browns, every councilman will be having a fit talking about, this deal, we got other things to do, we got to get this money about. So now they have that. They don't have that to complain about any longer because the Browns are gone and they have no obligation to make a dime's worth of capital, to pay a dime's worth of tax money on capital improvements or maintenance. Now, when you add it all up with what infrastructure the city of Cleveland made in order to accommodate the NFL, it's over $700 million that the city has invested to keep and satisfy the requirements to bring the Browns back after they left. And that deal was negotiated. They've been talking about the mayor, criticizing the mayor, and that original deal was negotiated by one of the top law firms in the country with experienced politicians in 1997, with the first payments due in 1999. So now that we're out of it, Now those same people who've been complaining annually about us giving money to the Browns are now complaining that they're leaving, and now they've forgotten about how burdensome that's been on the city of Cleveland. You add the police, overtime, and all the other issues, traffic control, to a Browns game. Now, I'm not saying that the Browns didn't bring us some revenue, because we got some hotel tax money, some other things. But it's a burden we don't have to be bothered with. And we still can be able to go to Browns games. You're going to still get off at exit 239, 71 south or north, whichever way you're coming. And the Browns will still be at that exit. That's where the Browns will be, at that exit. They'll be 1 mile outside of the Cleveland border. So the deal was reworked. The city got some money, and instead of having a vacant eyesore on the lake, part of the deal is that we will have a pad-ready, whatever that means, and they'll be defining that over the next year, pad-ready spot for whatever development will take place. So, hey, people still be able to go see the Browns. You still be able to catch the Rapid to see the Browns, just like you can catch the Rapid now to go see the Browns. So now instead of getting off, taking a little loop, you just stay on all the way out to Brook Park. So that's my take on the whole Browns deal.
Well, my take is not any take, but I do have a question. Because I'm thinking, like, so you hear the conversations, you hear the controversy, and so this presented a different perspective. But what do you say to those people who are just, I mean, they are livid, especially when you talk about fans that the Browns are leaving Cleveland. How do you convince them that this is okay?
Well, the region will still benefit from the Browns' presence. The region. See, the Modell law was really designed to keep the Browns from leaving the area. See, the Browns aren't leaving the area; they're still in the area. Now, that's disappointing as a Cleveland, because the history. You know, this will be the third.
So do they say name the Cleveland Browns?
They keep all the names.
They keep the name, but
because they really the Brook Park Browns.
But really the Brook Park. And here's the issue, Mike. I don't think the region benefits because the city of Cleveland benefited from that. It was to your point, there was millions and millions of tax dollars that the city of Cleveland is giving up for the Browns leaving. Now those millions and millions of tax dollars go from Cleveland to Brook Park and to everything surrounding Brook Park. As it relates to Cleveland, it's not us, because them dollars are going to continue to go west. They're not going to come east. And that's the problem that I have with it.
Yeah, I don't see them stretching further than downtown.
I ain't going to stretch
here's
that
another way
far.
to look at it. There's county taxes that come back. And remember, there's county money that comes back. And if we have county representation on the county council, so they have some leverage, and let's see if they exercise it. The other thing I want to point out.
Yeah, but that's splitting county dollars. I want 100% of my money. I don't want to split my money with 32 other little cities and 50 other cities. I want 100%.
But here's the situation.
Well, that's not going to happen now.
Here's the situation. We don't own the Browns. I own my.
I'm talking about the tax dollars.
Hold it. Let me say this. We don't own them. I own my car outside. If I decide to take my car from Strategic Moves and park it down the street.
That's correct.
Because I own it, and I'm going to pay the meter down there, or pay them private parking, and not pay you private parking. That's my right. Now, here's the other interesting point. While the city of Cleveland pays $2.7 million in annual maintenance and capital improvements, the Browns only give us. Now, this is the deal that the geniuses negotiated. The Browns only had to pay us $250,000 in taxes every year, but we had to give them $2.7 million in capital improvement money every year. And let me tell you about something else. In one of those years, we had a mayor who advanced the Browns $30 million, 15 years worth of that 2.7. We had a mayor, and all the critics now were silent like this.
Because they thought it was a good deal, like they thought this was.
Oh no, they didn't think it was a good deal. It was a terrible deal.
Well, that's why the name of this show today, and we're going to talk about it. Stop asking people permission to lead, because Cleveland has been a city that's been following its leadership blindly for years, and in doing so, some of those have made good decisions, some of them have made bad decisions along the way. And so, like we say, we could talk a whole bunch of hours about the Browns deal and how it made big sense. But the biggest
or didn't make any sense.
Or didn't make any sense. But the biggest, and I want to leave us on this because I take us a little bit out of it. The biggest injustice I feel that happened in the Browns deal was the state of Ohio. The state of Ohio came up with $600 million of money that's been sitting on the shelf for years, that's just been aging, that every time the African-American folks came there to say, we need money for books, they said no. Education. We need money for potholes. They said no, we don't have it. We need money to help fix what's going on with Planned Parenthood. We don't have it. We need money for all of these things. We don't have it. Never knew it and didn't say it's not in the budget. But all of a sudden, we need money for a football stadium. They come up with $600 million of money that they can honestly say, oh, this didn't come out of our budget. This is some money we had sitting on the shelf that we never told y'all about, that's been sitting there. Well, we told y'all about because we got to disclose everything, but y'all didn't really know how much money was sitting over there. And that money is now being used for that. We didn't fix homelessness with any of that money. We didn't try to fix anybody to try to make anybody any weller. We went through COVID and everything, do all of this, and they came up with this money. That right there, because we can go back over our semantics, whether the mayor and council, but that right there, I believe, was the nail in the coffin for the whole thing. And I think that was a big injustice because now everybody's paying for that one, and that was wrong.
Well, you know, when you talk about big-time sports, there's always a compromise, and usually who loses is the public, are the taxpayers on one end. But remember, who responded when Modell moved the Browns? And why did he respond? Mayor White responded because his constituents said, we got to have the Browns. And we don't care how much it costs. We got to have them. Now, in hindsight, we're not looking back on that deal and we're talking about, oh, golly, how do we get caught up in that? We got caught up in it because politicians always, usually, well, 90% of the time, they will respond to the emotions of their constituents. And the entire community's emotions were caught up to save the Browns. That's why we got a terrible stadium. It was rushed into existence. That's why when one of the conditions of the Browns being returned to Cleveland was we lost a whole lot of draft choices, which we're still paying for. There were so many contingencies that were tied to that made it was like we were desperate and we had to have the Browns in order to have value, and that's the price we paid.
Yeah, all right.
So that's we can talk about this, but there's some other conditions that we need to add into that conversation.
All right, so that's what's up with the Browns, y'all. They are gone. They are now in Brook Park. They'll still be here for a little bit. I think we might get lucky and see Shador finish out the season.
Yeah, boy, they don't get some protection on the line.
You know, that's a whole other show.
If I was him, I'd have said, "Look, I am not playing."
It's like that's suicide mission now at this point.
Yeah,
I feel bad for the brother, man. I'm like, dude, man. They just got you. And he believed. I was telling somebody, I was like, boy, I wish I had the confidence of Shakur Sanders. He gets on there every week, make you believe like he going out there to do it for us, Shador. Go on, man. We with you. I believe in you, man. But
you know, you got to have that type of confidence.
You got to have that.
You got to have that type of confidence.
But you
got to have that.
He's missing his right tackle, his left tackle, his blind side protection.
Boy, a coach that don't believe in it.
A receiver that can't catch. And
an owner don't want you there. I mean, that brother playing up against a
lot of hate.
It's a lot of hate over there on that time, man.
Number 3, sabotaging.
It's hard, man. It's hard for us. Hold on. All we could tell him is welcome to Cleveland. Because the other thing that's a big injustice, they said we done had 42 quarterbacks since 1999 or 91.
Yeah.
42.
And what's the average?
Oh,
14.
You know, most teams 3 or 4. 4 or 5 quarterbacks.
Doc, 42. We only had how many presidents we done had?
Well, we had 45 because I don't count one.
Right. Okay. Right.
I don't count him twice.
And these quarterbacks is just since 1999.
This is 99.
42.
42
years.
That's what we're saying. No, the country. We done had more quarterbacks on the Browns than the country done had presidents.
We can't remember the names. We can't remember the names.
No,
of
I was
some of
gonna
these
Right, we
say.
can't even remember the names of them.
I
all.
wonder
play
what
for
fans can.
Oh, there's a bunch of them out there can.
What
There's a
Brown
lot.
fans can remember
there's
all 42.
A whole bunch of Browns. If any out there going to give Libby a shout out, all 42 names, you got it. We want to know who they are. So we're going to kick it into our subject today. Our subject today is stop waiting for permission to lead. Our community, this is why our community is stuck. And one of the things we want to talk about is over the years, there's been this divide in the community from old guard to new guard, and it goes from generation to generation to generation. One of the big disconnects I believe that we're having with this generation that I'm a part of right now, and the generation that's the new generation or the one that's before us, is that there's always seemed to be this battle between each other, Gen X versus the millennials. And in that, it seemed to be that they say that our generation wants to hang on to stuff too long and won't give them an opportunity. And our generation is saying, hey, you guys, y'all need to pay your dues a little bit. You need to get your feet wet, not just in politics, but in business and everything else, and trying to be able to open it up. And so with that, there's always this group of people who never waited for people to give them a permission to do what they needed to do, and they just went out and do it. And in doing that, some people took them to be radical. Some people would say, they wasn't part of the team. If you're in a small town like Cleveland, some people would take that and use that as a way to isolate you out and try to make you seem as if there's something wrong with your beliefs and the way that you see things. And if you take that in the wrong way and become bitter with it, you will become that person that becomes that person that everybody see. They be like, here they come. Or you get real more bitter in it. And I don't want to name some people who are saying you'll turn into a who, and y'all know who I'm talking about out there. If y'all listening, y'all know somebody or somebody in your family who turned into that person. So the question I'm asking Doctor and I'm asking Mike, we're going to put out on the table, and everybody that's out there listening is, Doctor, when do we get to a point that we should stop asking people for permission and really take upon ourselves to do it? And when do you think you're doing it too early?
Do we actually ask for permission to lead? Do leaders really ask for permission to lead?
They shouldn't.
A leader doesn't ask for permission to lead. A leader just leads because they have the skills that are necessary to lead, and somebody's going to follow. And I think that's the thing with leadership is that you can't lead if you don't have no followers.
Correct.
So if you don't have the skills, then who's following you? So I don't know anybody who asks to be a leader. I mean, well, let me say this. Now, there's some self-serving folks who want to be like, put me out front.
That's
I need
correct.
my name. But it's more of self-promotion and not about leading for a cause or organization or business. No one should be waiting for permission to lead, but you should also be prepared to lead.
Okay. Because there's a lot of people who not asking
There's
for
people
permission.
but there are also people who are not prepared. And so then they get in leadership positions and they actually cannot do what's necessary to do in terms of leading.
So, Judge, in your experience of these communities and people growing up, you've done been through several aspects of this. And as we talk about leading, I believe that, let me just put this out there. I believe I was talking to someone earlier today and I talked about the old guard. Now, to me, the old guard is one thing. To the millennials, I am the old guard.
Yeah, you are now. You are
said
now.
But I think that's important too. Before you even go to the old guard, is I've been doing work. I have a book that talks about generations and intergenerational work and what that looks like to bring the generations together in terms of how we accomplish goals. Is that we've got to acknowledge that we keep putting the millennials as like the newer generation, but we got Generation Z and A that are behind the millennials. So millennials aren't even them the 40-year-olds now.
Oh yeah, I keep telling them y'all ain't young.
Yeah, them the 40-year-olds. Millennials are no longer young.
Right.
You about to be middle age in a minute.
Right.
And
Unicorn about to
sorry,
fall out.
unicorn.
Yeah.
Y'all about to be middle aged.
You're about to be middle aged.
And so recognizing
And middle age go quick.
it does. It pass you by. You look up and you like, dang, it's over
I
already.
turned 36 and I'm starting to feel it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Deep in my bones. I said, what's going on? I
no,
literally turned 36 the next day. My knees hurt.
Oh, well, wait,
What is
wait till you turn
this?
40.
Oh my
You gonna wake up and be like, why my thumb hurt? Oh, I slept wrong. My neck hurt.
My neck hurt.
Lord.
But when we talk about the generations, we still have to acknowledge that we've got the silent generation, baby boomers,
Right.
Gen X, then we've got millennials, then we've got Z, then we've got A. And so right now, we've got 6 generations that are still a part of society. How do you incorporate leadership for 6 generations?
And when everybody is on a different view of what they call leadership, and that's where I was going, because my generation, which was the generation before my generation,
His generation is the old generation.
It's the old generation. I'm glad that most of the people listening right now is my generation. But our generation, we were brought up to kind of be and I don't want to say more respectful, because some would say that's not the proper word, but we did a lot of opportunities where we stood behind the people that was in front of us. And sometimes we did that to the detriment of our own. There was people and times, and Judge can tell you, where we wanted to step out and do things that we thought was the right thing to do, and we should be on top of it. But doing that, there was a lot of pushback. We started organizations just like other people started organizations. We thought we could take on the world. We wanted to run for all kinds of positions and things of that nature. But as things go, one of the things I believe we did as a generation was start to more or less put ourselves in a position where we allowed ourselves to stay in that a little too long. You know, because our generation came up, we talked about this before, our parents were the ones who, when they went to work, they bought businesses from people. So they believed that, you know, in our mind, somewhat, that if you're going to working hard was going to work for somebody. Hopefully you buy that business and be able to build your wealth that way. Same thing would be with politics, would be with work and anything else that we decided to do. But it seems like the new generation comes in the door like, hey, I don't believe life should go that way. I believe I should be the owner of this thing. I think I should be either in charge, telling you how to run your business, and I don't want to pay the dues that you guys feel that you have to pay the dues to do it. They feel as if we waited too long. You know, I hear a lot from them like, hey, man, y'all sit back and let them put you in a position. And I say that because I believe that our generation now have an opportunity where we could have benefited more, where we kind of sat back and allow ourselves to get circumvented in the limelight of all the other stuff. And what I guess I'm trying to not say what I'm trying to say, but I guess what I'm trying to say is I believe that we carry too many bags and we sat back too long behind too many other people in power, whether that was business, whether that was politics or whatnot, instead of taking more of advantage of the situation. And I believe that the younger generation takes more of advantage of that than we did.
I'm gonna push back on that.
Okay.
And the reason that I'm going to push back on that is I'm going to push back on it from a historical lens.
Okay.
Is that when we talk about generation and what was actually available, we didn't have the availability that the newer generation has.
True.
Newer generation.
True.
Because we achieved and accomplished what we did, generation from each generation.
It made it easier
we opened
for
the
them.
door. It
Yeah,
made it
that's
easier
correct.
for
That's
the
correct.
next
That's
generation
correct.
to
That's
come
correct. That's correct.
and actually be able to be at the
That's
table,
correct.
to be able to move, to be able to lead. Don't be taking my fan. I'm over here hot right now. But to be able
That's
to
correct.
lead and to be able to
That's
push.
correct. That's
And so
correct.
I think that's something that we have to take into to consideration, is that we didn't have the same open doors as this generation has. This generation, we paved the way for them to be able to come in, because what they see is us in leadership positions.
Okay.
And it's more accessible. We didn't see our parents in the same leadership
That's true.
positions that
That's
we
true.
in.
That's true.
And our parents didn't see that because it wasn't the accessibility and the availability for them to have it. So I'm not going to say that we set back and we set back too long. more so than no, we pushed the needle forward, that you able to walk a little easier.
I agree. I totally agree with you, Judge.
You know, this is always an interesting conversation, especially when we talk about old guard versus the new generation. How old was the old guard when they stepped into leadership roles? They were young people.
18 to 24 is the average age for doing things.
When I look at the people that we consider, and it's usually the same group of people, especially in Cleveland, that they refer to. They're talking about the George Forbes, the Arnold Pinckney, and that group. But how old do you think they were when they stepped into leadership? They took advantage of the opportunities. When I look at the people that were involved in the civil rights movement, you know, in Jim Bevel, Ernie Green from Little Rock, Dr. King, Ruby Bridges, Diane Nash, they were born in the 40s, late 20s, early 30s, and 40s. So when the civil rights movement hit, they were 24, 25, 22, 19, and Ruby Bridges was just an infant. I mean, it was just a young person, a much younger person. She wasn't even a high school person. So my message to all these folks, instead of whining about the old guard, there are gaps to be filled in this community. We have homelessness. Where's the homelessness? Where's the leader that's going to step in and say, we're going to deal with this, since nobody's dealing with it? Where's the leader that's going to step in and talk about we need to develop our community's housing stock, since nobody really is doing it on a major scale? There's great opportunity. Who's going to flip the school system around? You know, when I go back, you know, my birthday is coming up this week. I'll be on December 6th, I'll be 77. In 1979, on my birthday, guess what I did?
What's that?
I led a sit-in at the Cleveland Public School Board in the building with Dr. Jordan. We were at an NACP meeting, and the old guard was doing their thing. And we said, you know what? The next time the old guard says, I'm appalled and dismayed at the actions of the Cleveland school, that was a favorite phrase. I said, as soon as they say it, we leaving. Dr. Jordan, we're going to get down there. If we can't get in, you're going to break the window. And we'd organize with the Forbeses and the Voinoviches to make sure we didn't get locked up. But we were young people. Let me tell you the young people that went with us. Chris Warren went with us. We had some young Tyrone Bolden went with us. We had some young people who were not waiting for the old guard. We just said it's time to go. And boom, we did it. See? So my statement to everybody that's whining about I didn't get my chance, create your own chance. There's a lot out here that needs to be improved. Our community is begging for leadership.
But that's the whole point. We're begging for leadership and no one's stepping up.
That's what I was going to say.
I mean, that's what.
And I guess that's the other thing.
That's a different story.
Yeah.
There are people who have the capabilities to lead, but like Ken said, people aren't stepping up. But then you have those that are stepping up, and we're putting the burden on them so much that we draining. And even though, I mean, I know when we think about this, when we think about talking about civil rights and other leadership, and that age range, 18 to 24, 18, 25 of the leaders, that's the expectation when you become a leader, is that you're going to be burdened and you're going to be pushed. But a lot of folks don't want to do that. A lot of folks don't want to deal in that, and so they're not stepping up to lead. But I think also, wait, let me say this too, Judge. Here's the other thing, is we put leadership on this high mantle. And folks go to leadership in this idea is that if I'm not leading 50,000 folks, then I'm not leading, versus leading within your own capacity and leading within. We'll make it a simple, leading within your own household.
That's correct.
What you doing in your household?
Your household and in your community.
In your community.
Because it's not
in
just
the school. Are you engaged in the schools?
Exactly, because our community is so fractured right now. It's not that we're saying, oh, we need more leaders in politics. That's not what we're saying. We're not saying we need everybody to step up and be an elected official, but we need just more leaders. We need more influencers in our community. The only way you're going to get people to get more involved in voting and things of that nature. We got to have more people around them that's influencing them to do that and make them understand it and reminding them that they got to do it. So when I say stepping up, when I say leading in our community, there was a lot of leaders in our community. I consider myself a leader in the community. I can say that now because I'm getting old. And now that getting old, I ain't gonna tell you how old I am, but I told my kids the other day, I said, man, I am old. They was like, are you getting old? I said, no. I said, I'm old. I'm going to just go on and embrace it.
Well, I am still maturing.
Yeah, I'm there. And when I say old, there's old people, and old doesn't mean I'm in the grave. I just said I done came to a point where we talk about that middle, where I was talking about when it goes fast. Trust me, it goes fast. And I'm at a point now where I can't say I'm middle age. I'm a little bit past middle age now. So that's all I'm trying to say. And in that, I believe that now the way things are going, we haven't had many other people that plays a role of influencers and those kind of things in our community. Not the influencers that's got the best rap song, even though there's a role for them. Not the hip hop or the entertainers, but just straight up people in that role. And I think we just need more of that. And that's basically where I was going with it.
Go ahead, Judge.
What was the attractiveness about Justin Bibb? He was new ideas, fresh face, young, compared to who was in the same position prior to his administration. And so people are looking for people to step up. Now, Kenny, you and I talk about this all the time, and I know we're going to get a lot of chat back now. Every Monday at city council meeting, we have people go down there and they speak out on issues. But nobody's going to follow a single one of them. Why? Because leadership has certain qualities. And that's not putting them down, but leadership, Dr. King was a leader because not only he was smart, but he was also charismatic.
Yeah.
Bevel and them
you
was
can't
leaders.
be a leader without no followers.
You got to have some charisma. Arnold Pinckney used to say, if you don't have nobody following, you're just taking a walk. So you're not leading anybody, you're just taking a walk. So you got to develop the whole skill set. You can't just be loud. You got to have first somewhere you're going. You have to interest people in where you are going, where you are leading them to, or what your issue is. You know, we've been talking about this whole Cleveland school thing. They're talking about how Collinwood, has only 100 kids in it. Well, that's a great opportunity for somebody to lead, to attract people to come to that school so they can have a reasonable argument. You can't argue about saving something that nobody wants to go to. Okay, there's 17,000 people live in North Collinwood. Only 125 of those people that are school eligible go to Collinwood. It's not a put down to Collinwood. It's that there needs to be leadership to convince people that it has value. And I think that those opportunities exist in our community, a lot of them. But you got to develop the skill set. You just ain't a leader because you say I'm leading or because you get up and make a speech every Monday. You got to have something that inspires people to follow you.
What makes a good leader?
Well, I think Dr. Burton was just talked about some of that. You got to be able to have a message.
You got to have a vision.
Yeah.
And Judge said that just a few minutes ago, is you've got to know where you're going and why you are trying to lead. Like if you just getting up, and we all can do that. All three of us can get up and give a great speech, give a great conversation, get people motivated. But we can get them motivated, but we ain't taking them nowhere.
That's correct.
We just got them motivated.
That's correct.
And so as a leader, you have to know, where am I going and what's the purpose of this? What am I putting behind the message to say this is where we're going?
So what mechanism in our community do we need to train leaders? Is there a mechanism in our community? Jock, you in the education field, and you've been around, Judge, you've been around and seen everything. Has you, in your lifetime, have you seen it, and Judge, and on the academic, is there classes or stuff to help develop? Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not trying to give Case a shameless plug.
I got you.
But our business school They have for undergrads a leadership minor. They have the master's program in leadership.
Really?
Most of the colleges have a leadership program that folks have to go through. But the key about leadership is you can learn it in the classroom and you can learn the textbook, but until you get out and do practical application, you don't know if it works.
Well,
and that's a leader for an organization. That's a leader for
right.
politics.
Right.
That's for anything. Classroom education is great. And I'm not minimizing or negating classroom education, but practical education and doing the work is just as important.
So maybe what I was thinking when I was thinking about, because when you started then I said, well, of course they got those. But I'm thinking more along the lines of grassroots.
The greatest community.
Well, we got our Social Justice Institute at Case.
But the greatest example of a community-based leadership organization was the 21st or the 11th or 21st Congressional District Caucus. People learn politics. Not only did they learn politics, they learned community leadership. They got to talk to people who are in leadership. They got to observe leadership, and then they were encouraged, go out here and find your niche and do your thing. So many people came out of that caucus that became prominent in our community at various levels. At various levels, whether school boards or whether it was a city council, whether it's community organizing, whether it's putting together a local development corporation, they learn communication. They learn how to inspire people, and they sat at they could hear Lou Stokes talk, or they could hear other people that were just, they could hear preachers, they could hear Reverend Cavaniss.
So again,
any Monday night.
but that going back
And they learned.
now to that point, we've been hearing that for 20 years too. So for 20 years, we've been hearing everybody keep talking about this caucus thing that existed. Y'all had to be part of the caucus. You don't know what you missed. I get it. But after 20 years, we still haven't had nobody in our community. They don't have to be the congressperson, because that's what everybody gonna say. Because it don't. Because we talking leadership.
Doesn't
here.
have to be the congressperson.
We still talking leadership here. After 20 years, we still haven't had anybody step up to say that we should be organizing that particular thing in which you talk about.
And right close proximity to where we are right now, there's a church down the street where Anna Chapman was the pastor's wife, and Anna Chapman was the glue. She was at Original Harvest Missionary Baptist Church. She was the glue around that, and there were other people like her, grassroots folks who made up that leadership. See, that's the funny thing about the caucus. Lou Stokes may have been the tutor leader, but the real leadership was in people like Anna Chapman.
Right.
Just regular folks.
That's correct.
So now, yes, Ken, you're right. We've been talking about this caucus, and I don't know, maybe it's because everybody has these little silos, and they all have gotten this little thing that they want to accomplish. And once they get that accomplishment and go get their dinner, go get their recognition at the next black tie dinner, then that's it for them.
Well, hold on. You said you was protesting.
He protested the black tie.
I'm not protesting. I'm just staying away from them
protesting black tie dinner.
until we accomplish something.
I'm trusting until they change the doggone menu.
See, I want to see somebody recognize who put it on the line.
That's what I'm saying.
Who put their job on
There
the
you go.
line.
Right.
Who did the rate trap brown. They ain't got to go that deep.
Right.
But who knew that when they speak up,
Right.
it's going to cost.
That's correct.
But it was worth.
But it was worth
The
the
battle.
cost.
It's worth the
Yeah.
battle. Right.
See, that's what I want to see recognized.
And I was going to say, and I think that's part of the issue, is that we've gotten so comfortable in our lives that many people have gotten so comfortable in their lives that those that can step up and lead don't want to lead also because of fear. And they don't want to lose what they've accomplished because of speaking in certain places. The other thing that I want to say is Judge was talking about the caucus, and I agree, is that you learn leadership by watching.
That's correct.
You can't just step in and start leading and you haven't watched and observed. And I gave somebody this advice the other week. They were talking about how they wanted to move up within an organization and that they wanted to lead on the regional and the national level. And I said to them, if you want to lead at that level, one, what are you bringing to the table? But two, how are you behaving? That people are watching you. And so people watch leaders, and natural leaders will elevate from folks watching them because they're going to push. And that's the other thing that we don't, and there's some young people, and I give it, there are some millennials, but there's some Generation Zs that have leadership skills that we have to utilize by watching them and seeing their capability to be able to lead. And you can always tell a leader. Because a leader got folks that follow. I'm stuck on that. But leaders have folks that follow.
Oh, that's the main. They got to be leading somebody. That's the whole.
And maybe that's our mission. Maybe we should host something. Maybe we need to host a public forum somewhere, and with organized to help people start recognizing that their leadership capabilities, and if they already have them, how to expand on them, and make
how
them
to
work.
use them.
Maybe we should do that. We got a doctor right here that does organizational behavior. She's the baddest doctor in town in terms of that kind of thing. I remember going to her social work class. She had 1,000 people, and I know all them were social work students.
Well, we can plan that to do something for next year as a part of our thing. We can go out in the community, do something live with the radio, and talk about that. I don't think that's a bad deal. Before we go, I want to start with you, Judge. Tell me, who's out of your years, who you would put as your top person? You say, I think they were probably the best leader I done seen.
For me, it's George Forbes.
Really?
That was my guy, George Forbes. And I didn't appreciate what George was doing when he was doing it. But as I observed and watched him, see, Central State only exists today because of George Forbes.
Okay.
Period. End of question. Reverend Cavaniss played a role in that too. But so I'll expand it. If it were not for those two, and what they had, we would have no Central State University. When the governor was going to shut it down, the legislature was going to shut it down. Not the governor. The governor said, George, the legislature got the votes. What are we going to do? When the Cavaniss and Forbes got busy, they made some calls to some young people, and they elevated me and said, you got to lead this battle. But I didn't know I had a battle to lead till they called me and told me that. But George Forbes, by far, and then Reverend Cavaniss. Secondary. They're my own mother and
Forbes and Cavaniss.
Yeah, those two cats was cold for me. They were cold.
Well, you Doc?
Yeah, I was gonna say. Actually, what's interesting is that I interviewed Forbes, Cavaniss, and others for my dissertation because I talked about how the voice of the community was relayed through pastors to political leaders for policy change, and so just sitting at the feet of folks like that, the Mosses, the McMickles, the Cavaniss, George Forbes, I gained a lot of information. I'm going to give two. Okay. Because I got to bring in women's voices here. Okay. So one, when I think about leadership, and no one knows this name pretty much, is Jarena Lee, who was the first woman licensed in the African American Episcopal Church under Richard Allen. Okay. And this is somebody who spread the gospel by foot. We talking miles and miles, but her name is never mentioned often. But if you look up her history, and so when I think about leadership, and specifically from a time period where women were in a certain category, weren't able specifically within the church, and then the second, I got to give it to Stephanie Tubbs Jones.
Interesting.
Yep, I got to give it to Stephanie Tubbs Jones, and I say that from a personal perspective, not just from what she did throughout, but from a personal perspective, and someone that I watched and learn from in leadership, because we did at Cleveland State, we had for urban studies, we had it was like a program, and so you did it in the city of Cleveland, then you did it in DC, and you participated, and Stephanie was one of the first speakers that I ever saw in politics, and from then it was just personal advice, political advice. That's why when Councilman Griffin was here and said we started our career together, right. I had a whole nother avenue that I was headed, but I made a detour. Oh, I'm seeing our wrap-up sign. So, Ken, that's where I go.
Oh, yeah. So mine was real easy. I'm going to go with Bishop Ellis from Pentecostal Church.
From Pentecostal, Jay Delano.
I watched him, and I was with him when that church got going and watched him build it up to what it was. And him and doing everything he did there, I totally was amazed. And like I said, he married me and my wife. So that experience of life dealing with him was a major one for me. And then the other one I'm going to give it to Marsha Fudge.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
I give it to her because she didn't have a lot of the big stuff that a lot of other people had. And I watched her work her career. And she always kept me. I did a lot of stuff here. I would say Marsha kept me home. I didn't do a lot of traveling with her. I didn't go to DC a lot and those kind of things. So I did a lot of stuff. She could. I got you. I did a lot of stuff with her then. So to get a chance to go to DC and really find out how much work she actually did nationally and how much people did and how much she was involved with you guys with the Deltas and all of that. She kind of built her thing up on her own. When you talk about somebody.
What's up, Cleveland? It's time to turn up the conversation. Tune in to the Strategic Moves for Kenn Dowell Radio Show. What's on your mind Tuesdays? Call in,